we're letting the kid know, okay, each paragraph has to have this and this and this and this. And if you do that, it's going to be better. Probably. Who cares if it's better? You're learning to do it by doing it. And over time, it will get better.
Hello, and welcome to the Arts of Language podcast with Andrew Pudewa, founder of the Institute for Excellence in Writing, or as many like to say, IEW. My name is Julie Walker, and I'm honored to serve Andrew and IEW as the Chief Marketing Officer. Our goal is to equip teachers and teaching parents with methods and materials which will aid them in training their students to become confident and competent communicators and thinkers. Well, episode 518, this is in February, and we are talking about the checklist. Now, we did already do an episode about the checklist, so this is kind of a part 2.
Okay.
But it's such a powerful tool, especially when we're talking about our theme of back to the basics.
Well, it's one of the most remarkable, clear things that people respond to immediately, probably because so many teachers and parents were frustrated before they found us with the problem of evaluating the student writing. You have to mark it, you have to grade it, you have to do something with it. And so many people got caught in that world of subjective feedback. Like, I like this, I don't like that. You know, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I remember when I was teaching, we had a rubric. And this is different than a checklist. A rubric is, I think of the 6
traits.
Yes, the 6 traits. And there was this idea of, in this trait, you want your student to do this, and this is what you're looking for. And it was just very gooey.
Right. And you would score them, I don't know, I think it was 1 through 5 or something, on things like word choice and sentence fluency, ideas and content, organization, voice, which are all important, but just saying your word choice is 3
right.
or your sentence fluency is 4, that doesn't really help any student know how to do that better. And I remember I went to a training seminar for the 6 traits plus 1 because they got presentations stuck on the end there. And it was expensive. It was 6 hours, full day. And I remember walking out of there thinking, I have learned nothing except that if people used our checklist, they would get all of those things.
Exactly. And you wrote an article about that.
Probably.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. But, most of the training was them showing children's books for the most part and saying, here's an example of good word choice. Here's an example of good sentence variety. Here's a good example of voice. And it wasn't anything I could see that I could take away and really improve the feedback I'm giving to students. So the rubric was there, but it wasn't being a good rubric.
No. So our checklists are not rubrics. They're very clear.
Right. And when you look at them, they include all of those traits, but we're letting the kid know, okay, each paragraph has to have this and this and this and this. And if you do that, it's going to be better. Probably. Who cares if it's better? You're learning to do it by doing it. And over time, it will get better.
Well, and speak to that just for a moment, because I know you use the term about building linguistic marble, and that's part of what this checklist is doing.
Right. It's funny because there's kind of 2 extreme reactions to the checklist. One is, adding all these things in makes my kids' writing so much better. And the other extreme is, but the good writers don't use so many adjectives and adverbs, and it's tight and concise, and they follow Strunk and White, and this is the opposite of that. And as in most things, the wisdom is in the balance. And one of the things I like to teach, particularly in the TWSS, when we get to introducing the idea of stylistic techniques, is that the goal here isn't for every paper to be a better paper, but for every writer to gradually become a better writer. And any technique, when you first start doing it, may be a little bit awkward, which is why we always like to go to the comparison with music or maybe sports or a physical skill. The first time you try to do a new technique, it's awkward. That's normal. But by doing it again and again and again and getting a little bit of feedback and perspective, but mostly just through the repetition and modeling and imitation and repetition and modeling and imitation, it gets better over time.
Yep. I think of your music analogy. I was thinking of my favorite instruments, 2 favorite instruments that I love listening to. One is the oboe and one is the French horn.
Really?
And both of these are difficult to learn to play because you got that double reed in an oboe. That French horn that has the mouthpiece so tiny. But if you master that, can you make beautiful music? But kids just learning that, oh boy, it's very painful.
Well, it's like violin too. You got to get your fingers in the right spot or it's really hard on the ears. So I think we've been at this long enough and we've had hundreds, if not thousands of people tell us that, when their kids grew up and, went into higher education or did this or that, or entered an essay contest, all of the training that they were given when they were younger, elementary, middle school, whatever, worked. And now they're really good compared to everybody else who didn't have that type of precise stylistic practice.
Yeah, over and over and over again, because once it's on the checklist, it never goes away.
Right. And we restart each year. That's one thing. We've set up the materials, whether it's the SSS courses or the curriculum-based writing lesson books, to kind of assume that everybody forgot everything.
Yes.
But go a little bit faster in building the checklist each year. And so it's more and more familiar. And after a couple of years, they see strong verb and they just immediately know what that is. They look for a verb. They look for one that maybe has a strong image or feeling. If they don't see it, they look for one that is kind of a weak limb lousy verb. And then they go to their mental thesaurus, which is developed over time, or they use a tool like the portable walls or...
Well, and can I just give a little plug?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little plug for our new and improved writing tools app. And now it's got a built-in thesaurus. And if you are looking for an LY and you come up with quickly, and there it is on the list, and you're like, I've used quickly 3 times already. Yeah. So you click on the word quickly, and it comes up with a whole list of alternatives for the word quickly that are all LY adverbs. Right. So this is much more robust than what we had in the past. The previous one was based on the portable wall and a word right now. And now
and for those people who don't necessarily want their kids to default to screens as a reference, and I'm in that category, we still have our awesome Word Right Now book. And you can still buy paper dictionaries and thesauruses.
Roget's thesaurus is still available.
Word Finder, there's so many good options. So I think helping kids learn to use real reference books at a younger age prepares them for using digital reference materials later on. But either way, we've got it. We got it covered.
We got you covered. Except we're not selling used Roget's thesaurus.
No, not at the moment.
But speaking of digital, I would like to take a moment to talk about a tool that's available. It's a web-based tool that is included with our premium membership called our Checklist Generator.
Right. And this is a tool for the teachers, for parents, tutors, teachers. And many, many, many years ago, when I was creating some of our products, I spent a tremendous amount of time creating checklists on some kind of Apple word processing or design application. And I had to memorize the keystroke combination to get those little boxes.
Okay.
And then I had to tab and space. And I spent so long creating those checklists. And I remember thinking, there should be an easier way to do this. because you want to be able to create the checklist the way you want it for the level of challenge, the easy +1 level that you have for your student or students. But you don't want to spend a lot of time doing that. And so I don't remember. Do you remember when we got that first checklist generator going?
12 years ago, Andrew.
It was 12 years ago. Wow.
And the nice thing about having now 12 years of experience is we've refined it over the years, and it just gets better and better.
Yes. And we've corresponded checklists with the books that we've published so that, there's a checklist in the book. But if you want to adjust that, you could cross something out or you can handwrite something in. That's valid. But if you want something that looks a little nicer, you can go to the checklist generator, click a few boxes, create a PDF, print it. And I use this almost every week in my teaching because I like to have the checklist be exactly the way I want it.
Right, exactly. And you can customize it. You can print out 30 copies if you have 30 students in the class that are all at the same level. Or you can customize it and print out the 5 for those more advanced students and the 3 that need a little bit more help.
And you can, change the banned words if you want to. You can decide how many paragraphs you want on the thing. You can add in any other little thing that you might want to add in or take off the things that you haven't addressed or you don't think need to be there. So to me, that tool is so worth the premium membership, which is, I don't know, what is it about?
It's $99 for the first year because we put a bunch of other content in there.
You get the whole TWSS video course.
Yes, exactly. But then to renew it, it's just, the cost of 7 cups of coffee for the whole year. And there's that checklist generator.
You mean it's $50?
Oh, wow. How expensive is
I don't know. Last time I was at Starbucks in an airport with the required tax, fees, and tip, it was $7 for a venti Americano with 4 shots.
Link in the show notes, and a price for renewal will be in the show notes. And the reason...
Our alternative currency today is number of cups of coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But people have asked, can I just get the checklist generator outside of the premium membership? And the answer is no.
Right.
But you can get the checklist generator with a subscription and then get all these other things added onto it. And that's called premium membership.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm profoundly grateful we have it. I bump into teachers all over the place. Some of them who are using it very excitedly and happily. Other people who didn't really even know they got the premium membership with their TWSS course, but they hadn't really explored that. So it's pretty easy. You just go to your account, and if you've paid, it should be there, and you can click around, see how it works. I even have a PDF editor, so I can print the thing, and then I can even edit something that wasn't changeable in the checklist generator.
Oh, yeah.
And change that if I want to. So
yeah, I want to go back to one of the things that you said that I think is very helpful. We have our Structure and Style for Students video courses, and just about every single week, there is a corresponding checklist that goes with that assignment.
Right.
Those checklists are in the curriculum, but they are also preloaded into our checklist generator so that even if you are doing an IEW course, you can customize that. So if, example, week 3, you're doing Bald Man in the Fly with Structure and Style for Students, year 1, level A. You can say, well, Mr. Pudewa introduced the who, which clause. My kids are not ready for that. Boom, take it off. Or they are ready not only for the who, which clause, but they want to start trying the quality adjective.
Strong verb is next.
Oh, strong verb is next. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you could jump to quality adjective if you want to.
You could on the checklist generator.
The video is going to do strong verb next.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's one thing we've tried to do over the past, really 5 or 6 years is just kind of keep things consistent between all the products. So whatever you're using, it's going to follow that same sequence, and that's reduced a bit of confusion that sometimes we get from people. But checklists are such a good tool for kids. And one of the things that I've been noticing is that I think children who have detailed checklists, like how to clean a bathroom, right? And schedules, like how to organize time, when you give them these things at a younger age, it really helps them to kind of organize their mind, their brain, so that as they get older, they get that habit of creating schedules and checklists and priorities and things that are going to make them more happy,
Yes.
successful and happy as adults. So it's one of the intangibles that Mrs. Ingham used to love that word, and she'd talk about, yes, we're teaching kids how to read and write and do phonics and spell and memorize poetry and all that. But under that, what we're doing is we're helping develop minds and hearts and build responsibility and integrity and all of these kind of more character intangible things that I think are really what most all parents and teachers want at the core of education. And it's also very nice because you get the paper and you look at the checklist and then you look at the paper and, okay, well, you checked it off, but I don't see it. Just stop right there, kick it back and say, I see you checked this, but I don't see where you did it. You have to do what you check and then check what you do. These have to match.
Right.
And so
that accountability.
And then it's not like, oh, the teacher doesn't like my thing. You're not picking on them. You're not criticizing them. It's just missing. Okay, so let's work together and get it in there.
Yep. And just, one final plug for the checklist generator. If the their students are frustrated because it's too hard, that's where the beauty of the checklist generator comes in, because you can make it easier for them. And they won't even know necessarily that their checklist is different than everyone else's because it looks pretty similar, very professional and polished, which is what we love. So, well, I think this has been helpful. And thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please subscribe to our podcast in iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify, or just visit us each week at iew.com/podcasts. Here you can also find show notes and relevant links from today's broadcast. One last thing, would you mind going to iTunes to rate and review our podcast? This really helps other smart, caring listeners like you find us. Thanks so much.